Let's get more now with Shaina Low, who joins us from Amman. She's the Communications Advisor at the Norwegian Refugee Council. Good to have you back with us, Shaina. Tuesday today is officially World Humanitarian Day, and the United Nations has highlighted the record high death toll of aid workers we saw last year. How would you describe the current situation and the conditions for aid workers around the world, but particularly in Gaza?
Well, the numbers are simply shocking, and the fact that 50% of those aid workers killed were killed in Gaza is unspeakable. These are people who are working on the front lines to serve their communities, to serve the world. Most of these aid workers are civilians from the communities in which they serve. And the fact that they are losing their lives, sometimes while trying to carry out those duties, sometimes while at home with their families or sheltering with their families, since so many have been displaced, it's a terrible milestone, and something that the world needs to demand not only protection for aid workers who are going and risking their lives to save the lives of others, but for civilians in general. We've seen in Gaza and in other conflicts the complete disregard for civilians, the disproportionate civilian death toll, and we know that the world must demand better, that aid workers trying to save lives should be protected, that civilians caught in war zones must be protected and have their rights respected.
When we look at Gaza specifically, we know Israel has killed a number of humanitarian workers. They've been accused of actually targeting them. They've also killed journalists as well. We know that essentially Israel is doing this with impunity. After such incidents, there is this initial outcry, but it's not really followed up with any real repercussions on Israel. Do you see that changing at all?
We haven't seen changes on the ground. Aid workers are still at risk. We're still getting reports of aid workers being killed over the last several weeks, in sometimes, as I said, carrying out their duties, sometimes in their personal capacity. But until there is accountability, until there are consequences for continually violating the law, we're going to see Israel continue to disregard it. This has been the cycle, not just with the deaths of aid workers, but the cycle that we've seen throughout the occupied Palestinian territory for years, where there's often statements of condemnation, but no real consequences. And as a result, there's no imperative, no pressure for Israel to change and change its conduct.
Okay, Shaina Low, we will have to leave it there, but the very best of luck with your humanitarian work in Gaza and elsewhere. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.